Michael had no friends his own age, no life outside of show business. Over time, the once playful and confident child became a shy and awkward teen, plagued with acne and insecure about his looks.
Michael is quiet now. When he was younger, he wasn't that quiet. But I don't know, I think the stage might have done that to him. Because wherever he go, everybody's coming out to see Michael Jackson, you know, want to look at him and see what he looks like. And he said he feels like an animal in a cage.
I get embarrassed easily, and I don't know, sometimes being around, you know, everyday people and stuff, I feel strange, I do.
Michael said the only place he felt comfortable was on stage, and that he drove himself to be perfect.
Actually, you're becoming like a stage addict. I really am. Like when there are off days and there is no show, I'm up at night dancing just the same. I just have to. I'm just so used to it. My body is almost mastered to do it at a certain time. I just go crazy. So when there's off day, I'm still like performing just about. It's really strange. I guess I'm an addict. Can't help it.
The pressures on Michael would intensify, and his reactions would become extreme. When we return,
how do you feel when they call you?
Yeah, Wacko Jacko.
In 1979, Michael Jackson turned 20. For him, growing up meant only one thing: creating his own music.
There's other kinds of sounds of music that I love to do. It hurts what is inside of me and it can't get out, and it's hidden from the world. When I do those solo albums and I'm doing all kinds of different music, it's wonderful. I feel like I'm accomplishing what I'm supposed to do.
Even as he continued playing with his brothers, Michael sought the next musical step. He teamed up with producer Quincy Jones to create his breakthrough solo album, Off the Wall.
There's a great moment in the Destiny tour. At the end, he comes out with the black suit and the bow tie and the white socks and the black shoes. It shows Michael fully formed as a solo artist. Like, this is who I am now. I'm separate from my family band. I'm gonna be this guy. It's like the moment in The Wizard of Oz when it goes from black and white to color. It's like all of a sudden we're in the future of what pop and dance and rock and roll and Michael Jackson is going to be.
His next album, Thriller, exploded, winning every award and breaking every record.
And the winner is Thriller!
Beat it, Michael Jackson.
Off the wall, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson.
And his moonwalk on the Motown 25 special in 1983 made him the biggest star in the world.
Indeed, he went into orbit. I mean, he went into orbit and never came down.
He starts to like hang out with President Reagan and Nancy Reagan and Princess Diana, and all these celebrities are flocking to Michael's incredible star power. They just want a piece of it because the light is shining so vividly and so brilliantly.
Yet Michael was still living at home with his parents. He was still a practicing Jehovah's Witness, which meant no dating, no drugs, no cigarettes. The gap between Michael as a person and Michael as a star was growing. And as a star, there was nothing Michael couldn't imagine.
As he becomes more famous, he starts to develop this philosophy that he wants to create a more limitless world for himself. So he doesn't want any boundaries at all. He doesn't want boundaries of race. He doesn't want boundaries of gender. He doesn't want any boundaries on his music. He doesn't want any boundaries on how much money he can spend on anything, certainly not his creative visions. He doesn't even want any boundaries on his own facial structure.
Over the next several years, a series of plastic surgeries will transform his physical appearance.
Michael Jackson's been overhauled more than the Statue of Liberty. This is how he looked before the nose job, the chin job, and the eye job.
Michael's face became another one of his artistic creations. But his skin actually got lighter because of a medical condition, one he kept secret until his mid-30s. Michael was suffering from vitiligo, a skin disease that caused white blotches on his face and body. Then in 1984, a calamity brought him new physical problems.
We were filming a Pepsi commercial for the Victory Tour, and they were using pyro, and Michael had hairspray in his hair, and one of the sparks from the pyro landed on Michael's head and caught him afire. He was screaming out my name, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't get to him quick enough.
Michael was hospitalized and put on painkillers for months. He was left with scars that would require more medical treatments in the future and more painkillers. When he returned to the public eye, he seemed to push the boundaries even more.
It's not everybody who tries to buy the Elephant Man's bones and travels with a pet chimpanzee.
Michael played with the press. He was having fun with publicity and trying to come up with ways to get more attention. But ultimately it backfired. I mean, I think the public sort of said, this guy is weird.
Wacko Jacko.
He hides in his room afraid.
Persistent rumors that followed
His
him.
bizarre behavior.
Constant source of interest to the paparazzi.
We talked about the press in 1997.
How do you feel when they call you
Wacko Jacko? It's not nice. I'm not a wacko.
There are those who would say that you add to the attention.
No, I don't.
Well, the masks, the mysterious behavior.
There's no mysterious behavior. Maybe I like to live that way. Maybe I like to dress that way. I like to dress that way, you know? You should not say he's an animal. Should not say he's Jacko. I'm not a Jacko. I'm Jackson. I have a heart and I have feelings. I feel that when you do that to me. It's not nice. Don't do it.
As public love turned to public ridicule, Michael became even more isolated by his own fame.
I can't take a walk in the park. I can't go to the store. I have to hide in a room. You feel like you're in prison.
Do you think it's the paparazzi, the celebrity, the tabloids, the public? Who?
The public is fine.
They buy the tabloids.
They buy the tabloids. So don't buy it. That would shut them down. To make ugly stories and gossip and rumors and to be vicious and evil and ugly, that is garbage. Don't buy it. Don't buy into it and don't believe it.
If you could, turn off the fame, turn off the paparazzi, have a normal life, would you do it? Even if it meant giving up performing?
I'd do it. I'd have to be able to create. I have to create something. I would rather die if I couldn't create. You can't shut me down. I have to give it out.
Michael's escape was Neverland, a 3,000-acre ranch with a private theater, a zoo, and carnival rides. It was perhaps his fantasy of childhood, the one he never had. Michael's nephew, TJ, his brother Tito's son, often visited Neverland. What was it like being with Michael at Neverland?
Magical. Time stood still. It was a lot of fun. We'd watch movies, we'd play games, we'd throw popcorn at each other. At that time, I think my brothers and I felt like our role was just to let our uncle have fun.
In Neverland, Michael could be a child again with other children.
He started to get advice during this period from his advisors who would say, you know, Michael, when you're hanging around with these kids and spending this much time with these young boys, eventually, with the kind of money and clout that you have, someone's going to sue you. And Michael's response to that was, but it's beautiful. You know, why would anybody do that?
But Michael would find out soon that the world did not see things the same way he did.
One of the most famous people in the world is in the middle of a personal and professional nightmare.
What's the biggest misconception about him?
That he's a molester.
Let's get into that when we return. Thriller made Michael the biggest star on the planet. That success allowed him to live in a world of his own making. He traveled with a huge and exotic entourage. It included Bubbles the Champ, Liz Taylor, and the child stars Macaulay Culkin, Brooke Shields, and Emmanuel Lewis. In his travels, Michael would also form close, lasting relationships with people he happened to meet, bellboys, drivers, fans, people he was introduced to at parties. His dermatologist nurse, Debbie Rowe, became a friend and confidant for decades. There were always children around, too. 13-year-old Geordie Chandler traveled with Michael, accompanied by his mother and sister. They became a new, ready-made family for him. But it would end badly. In 1993, Evan Chandler, Geordie's father, accused Michael of molesting Geordie.
Michael Jackson is the subject of a criminal investigation.
Chandler hired a lawyer and threatened to sue. He wanted a trust fund for Geordie, then a screenplay deal for himself. Michael sent a message